All right, thank you guys so much for coming to this 50th anniversary celebration. So my name is Tamara. I am the environmental educator here at the park, and I am also and I was about to say I'm also the 50th event coordinator. So, about, I don't know, like 9 months ago, somebody told me that next year was going to be the 50th anniversary, and I was like, well, that's exciting. And it has been quite a whirlwind, meeting with different people, doing the oral history project, doing the art gallery, working side by side all the time with Anne. It's been an amazing, amazing thing. And so this art gallery would not have happened without Anne. So if you haven't gotten a chance to look around at the pieces, I highly suggest looking at the pieces later. The entire theme of this 50th anniversary has been basically community and the beauty of Grafton. So I really wanted to focus on Grafton as a whole rather than Grafton as a park. And so all these pieces are specifically people who have made pieces that reminds them of the town of Grafton. And then for our oral history project, we had people who worked at the park, people who visited the park, but also people who had land where the park is today. So I wanted to definitely highlight all of those things in the oral history movie. And so at the end of the speeches, we will actually have a little trailer of the movie, so a little clip of it. But I do encourage you to come back at 9 o'clock tonight. Whether it's on the beach or it's raining and it's in here, we will have that oral history movie. And every single one of the people that I interviewed was able to make it here today. So, really excited. I highly encourage you, if you do not know the people who interviewed, all of our name tags kind of say what we are, what we did, and so hopefully you can kind of talk to some of those people. And I also wanted to thank Melissa and all of the staff for being amazing. A lot of people have been thanking me, but I feel like all of this would not have happened without everyone's help. So there was a lot of volunteers who were here today helping set up the lunch. And finally, I wanted to thank the town specifically. I came to the last, I think, 3 or 4 town meetings to kind of promote it. And Ingrid was always very welcoming. Ingrid is the town supervisor, and she's always very welcoming. And it was very great to be able to talk to so many people and build those connections. And with that said, one last person I did want to thank is the Friends president. So she is at Sushi. I don't know where she is currently, but she was handing out drinks in the beginning. And so the Friends group has been amazing with kind of supporting us and building up and helping us kind of put on these large events. And so before I hand it off to Stephen McLaughlin, the way that this is set up, actually guys, all of you have a program here. And in this program, we have a list of speakers. So that order is the order of speakers. And then we have all of the town council members and a couple other town representatives, the park representatives that are here, all of the oral history participants, and a couple things that basically what they were talking about. And there's Atsushi back there, our Friends president. And the final part is the Beauty of Grafton artists and basically what they contributed to it. And so I do want to hand it off to Stephen McLaughlin, who is going to be giving a 50th proclamation.
Thank you, Tammy. It's welcome. Good to see everybody here. And I was driving up here. You can almost feel yourself get a little calmer when you get up into this part of the county. It's quiet. It's beautiful. It's nice. I often talk, as we're trying to grow this county, about corridors of growth, that we have to have areas that are kind of booming and busy, and that's how we generate the tax dollars to pay for everything. but that's just quarters. So much of this county is wide open space, and it's rural, and it's beautiful, and that's what we strive to maintain also. You have to strike that balance between areas that people can shop and do things like that, but you have to have this. And how blessed are we to have this in Rensselaer County and in the town of Grafton? It's pretty amazing. You know, the Rensselaer Plateau, very, very special to all of us. Still somewhat, I think, undiscovered by a lot, even in our own community, even in our own county. A lot of folks that are not necessarily outdoors people don't quite grasp how special that is and how special Grafton is. I've been here in various seasons. I like them all, but last time I think I was here was about -10. It was the winter carnival, and it was howling wind, right? And it was a little bit rougher of a day, but it's a great team up here. It really is. Every time I come in here, I'm struck by the beauty of it and how great this is. Melissa's doing a great job, and she's doing a great job with this park. And that doesn't happen without a great team. As anybody that's in a leadership role knows, you have to have a great team behind you, usually telling you what you're doing wrong. But you have to have people behind you telling you, showing you, helping you get things done. And Melissa's team is top-notch as well. And the Friends of Grafton, amazing, amazing group. So you think back to 1971, I think most of us were around, right? Some of the younger ones maybe not, but most of us were around in 71. And now here we are 50 years later, and where this place is grown from, as it says, 1,850 acres to begin with a 1,000-foot beach and a concession stand, and now 2,500 acres, 25 miles of trails, six lakes, a beautiful welcome center here, along with the reopened Dickinson Fire Tower. So incredible to see what's going on here, what continues to happen out here. We're proud of Grafton, that it's in it's in this county. We're very proud of that, as we are with all of our special places in the county. But this truly is one of the gems of Rensselaer County. So thank you for letting me take part today. I appreciate it. I did bring with me a 50th proclamation. That's a big one. I sign a lot of these, and this is a big one. 50 years is a big deal. So congratulations to everybody, the entire team here at Grafton, the Friends of Grafton, Ingrid and her team, great town supervisor up here in Grafton. It's just such a welcoming place, and that's exactly as it should be. Hopefully, it's going to continue. I'm sure it will. It'll continue to grow and thrive as word continues to get out there. And I was just telling the state parks too, by the way, do a really good job. Some of the folks here, and I was just talking about a park that I went to last summer out on Lake Ontario. It was a campground, less than a park, not so much like this, but beautiful. The state does a really, really good job with their parks. So, and that's all over the state, everyone I've been to. New York is a special, special place, and this place is top-notch among those special places. So thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
So thank you so much, Stephen McLaughlin, the Rensselaer County Executive. And next up, we do have Melissa Miller. She is the park manager, and she's been the park manager for over 10 years. So here you go, Melissa.
All right, thanks. Hi, everybody. Wow, this is really, really something. I can't believe I'm looking out at all of you. Hi, I'm Melissa Miller. A lot of you guys met me as Melissa Wright 18 years ago. I've been here 18 years. A lot of you watched me grow up here. I was a 20-year-old kid, no idea what I was doing. And a lot of you guided me through it and brought me to the town and taught me things. And it's funny, this morning, a news person came and they said, why does this matter? Why are you celebrating the 50th? And I took it really personal to myself, and I want you all to kind of think about this, but it's because this park, and I'm not just saying this, like literally changed my life. I don't know about you, but my grandma used to bring me up here, and I did swimming. You go to remember swimming lessons. I got to boat for my first time here. I learned what a snake was at this park. And now, right? I mean, because there are snakes, everybody. And it changed what I wanted to be when I grew up. It changed how I looked at the natural world. It gave me an appreciation for these beautiful spaces. And now, here I am in my 40s, we won't go much further than that, in my 40s with my 2 young sons that are doing the same things, and I see that all on their face. And that's because of the gem of this park. That's because of our natural spaces and what we have here. And we're so lucky. We're so lucky to be a part of it and be making memories. Because if I have those kind of memories, how many other thousands of people have those memories? How many of your kids have worked at this park? I know I've hired a few of them. I know they've worked under us. And this park really represents all of Grafton. It's part of us. It's part of, and the town. The town, when I came here as a young kid, I met the librarian, I met Leanna. She brought me, hand-walked around and taught me books. I met the post office woman who then went, Sue, who then went to work at the store. Like, it is such a beautiful town and such a beautiful community, and we are all so blessed to have it, and that's why I think we need to celebrate the 50th. And it was really interesting to get that question, because sometimes I think we take it for granted, and we forget what we're surrounded by and the people we're surrounded by. We are so good to each other, and we look out for each other. When I need Jimmy Boyer, he is here, and he's got my back more than he probably wants to. And I'm really thankful to be surrounded by you guys and the support, and I'm thankful the park is still here. And I want to celebrate our next 50th, and I want my grandkids to be up here giving the same speech, surrounded by everyone. So thank you. Thank you for being here to celebrate it, and another 50. Let's go strong, right, guys?
So next up, we do have Elaine Balchinian. Is that right?
You did.
Okay. And Elaine is the Regional Director of the Saratoga Capital District. So here you go, Elaine.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I don't think I could top what Melissa just said. That was a beautiful, beautiful job. He's just crying over there. But I'll just add one thing. You know, we thank you, Steve, for your kind words about the state park system. Melissa is a gem. You're very lucky to have her. We have numerous parks throughout the region, and this is one of our shining examples of community, which you see that here. And given the history of this park, that's a remarkable and graceful achievement. For our parks to be together with the community, with the friends, with all the volunteers. I'm grateful to you, all of you, everyone here, for your partnership in preserving this beautiful place and in stewarding it and enjoying it and bringing us all together to keep it. In this time of, it can be tough. There's a lot of people struggling. We're coming out of a pandemic. There are economic issues, there are political issues, there are religious issues, there's a lot of issues. But what you can do in a park like this is come together. It can feed your soul. It can make you think about more positive things. And I think it's just a remarkable achievement that this place is here for 50 years. And like you said, let's keep it going and keep it protected all together, working together. So thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Next up is our town supervisor, Grafton Town Supervisor, Ingrid Gundrum.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ingrid Gundrum. I'm the Grafton Town Supervisor. And my remarks are going to sound incredibly like echoes of the remarks previous, but they nailed it, perfectly described the relationship between the town of Grafton and the state park. When the park first opened in 1971, my dad, Reiner Gundrum, was the Grafton Town Supervisor. So it's a particular honor for me as his daughter to be here today, celebrating 50 years of the park as our neighbor here in town. And I couldn't help but think back to some of the memorable townspeople who have served the park, such as Ed Bly. You remember when Ed Bly was, right? Yeah. And Bob DeRocco, right? And I think back to the wonderful Tom Conklin at the helm as manager, and Eileen Bly and Franny May in the park office. The park has provided summertime employment opportunities for Grafton's youth for 50 years. And today we see some of those very same youths who continued on to pursue careers at the park. There she is. Such as manager Melissa Miller and Laura Weir, whose passion and dedication to the park can be seen all around, but most magnificently in this beautiful new Welcome Center. In coming to this event today, environmental educator Tamara Beal has done so much lovely work to plan this event, and it's been a pleasure to have you at board meetings, and we look forward to seeing more of you and sharing park events with our Grafton residents. Grafton's motto is "Beauty is all about us," and I really feel the state park helps to promote that slogan by being mindful stewards of this marvelous and vast piece of Grafton ground. As Grafton continues to emerge as a four-season natural paradise destination for outdoor recreation enthusiasts, I'm really looking forward to being good neighbors with the state park for the next 50 years and beyond.
Thanks so much, Ingrid. So before we transition to the final speaker, I did want to say a couple notes on just how amazing it was to interview the oral history participants. I got to interview 15 different people from all different walks of life. Some people who were here as lifeguards the first day and on July 1st. Can my two lifeguards on July 1st raise their hands? Oh. Sorry, I didn't realize we actually had all three that were here. But we also had people who visited the park. So if Ira and Kathy Scherer can raise their hands. Hi. It was a real pleasure to work with Linda Lavley. She's the granddaughter of the Fire Tower observer, Helen Ellett. And right over there. And then we also, Bob Davis already raised his hand. He was a maintenance person back in the 70s. Is Dan O'Brien here? Aha! So Dan O'Brien, he moved here in the 90s and was actually here right when the derecho of 1995 hit the park and knocked down a bunch of trees. And also it caused damage throughout the Northeast. So Dan O'Brien is back there. And then I did interview two people who actually own property in the park, so or their relatives own property in the park. So that would be Judy Guys and Dorothy Scherer, or sorry, Dorothy Surprise. I also had the pleasure of interviewing the Rensselaer County the historian, and that is Kathy Sheehan right up front. She was also here the first year. Yeah, day two. She was here. Finally, another people that I interviewed that were concession stand workers back in the 70s was Therese Goyette and Liz Medvitz. I know Therese is here. Is Liz here? Aha, they're both back there. So Warren Dolan was also he's a local resident, and all four of his children in some fashion or another did end up working inside of the park, if not for the park. So Warren Dolan is in the back there. And finally, last but not least, we have Val Conklin. She was the daughter of Tom Conklin, and we had a fun time. She told me a bunch of stories, including the fact that her dad always ran the Run for the Roses, and his goal was never to be last. Second to last, but not last. So yeah, it was an amazing experience to be able to work and to be able to hear these stories from all these people. And just be able to build community, because I have only been working for this park for about a year and a half. I originally did not know much of the history, did not know much of the community, things like that, and it was really a blessing to be able to meet so many different people and work with so many different people. And one of those very special people that I worked with was Ann Kiley. So Ann Kiley is the Grafton historian, and she is the one who was my, my other pinky, who were helping me get all of this art gallery together. Without her, I think there might have been like 5 pieces. So she was amazing, helping me figure out how to put it together, helping me figure out like what we want in the art gallery. She also led the cemetery walk this morning, and she led, or is going to lead, the photo flashback program directly after the lunch. So I suggest you stick around to see some of the old photos of the park, or before, long before it was a park, about 100 years ago. And she also helped me get people for the oral history project. Basically, this wouldn't happen without it. So, thank you. And so as a thank you, I have a big bottle of champagne because she said 2 days ago that she really likes champagne.
I think you can drink that.
But underneath this, I did want to point out, underneath this, we actually took off the label that was on here. My fiance did this, and then decorated it with the 50th anniversary symbol, and then gave the champagne the name Six Ponds. And then it says Grafton Lakes, New York Champagne.
Well, it all leaves me kind of speechless. And also, the previous speakers are very eloquent and said much more eloquently than I, some of my notes. But I'm going to take a little bit different tack. How many people walked here today? Okay, I'll come back to that. Today is a unique celebration, and it is unique being here for 50 years. But this is really part of a continuum of Grafton being as a recreation area. And I want to say 100 years ago kind of was a kickoff time, a little more than 100 years ago. At that time, the little girls from St. Vincent Orphanage in Troy would come and spend 2 weeks at the Scriven Hotel, where the basketball courts are now. Underprivileged children from Troy would spend 2 weeks at the Fresh Air Home, courtesy of the Troy Times newspaper. Residents here in Grafton welcomed people to come and stay in their home as summer boarders, kind of like an early Airbnb. A bunch of camps were developed during that time. Camp Sadaka, Camp Uwalkas, Camp Barker, what am I missing, Kathleen? Okay. So, and Grafton became really quite a destination at that time, for the same reasons that it is now. So 50 years ago, when the park opened, this was a new chapter in Grafton's history as a recreation area. And today is a 50th anniversary, marks another chapter. In these last 50 years, the park has really achieved amazing things. Because when it first opened, there was the beach, there was picnic areas, there was some other visions, some of them materialized, some of them haven't, but it has really grown so tremendously. And especially, I think, as a year-round park, something that might not have been envisioned or on people's agenda in the beginning, but things like Winter Carnival. When I come to the park today, I see local people, but we see a lot of other people enjoying this. But at Winter Carnival, there's so many Grafton people that we see here that are really taking advantage of that. So I think that we've seen this, I see this as a continuum from a little bit more than 100 years ago today as Grafton as a recreation destination. And why did I ask you how many walked here? Because on this continuum, I don't think it would have happened without the car.
Yes.
And if anybody wants to do any kind of a project and needs a good teammate, call Ray.
All right, so just before we transition to lunch, like I said before, I do have a short clip. It's about 6 or 7 minutes of the Oral History Project. My original envision was this would be about 30 to 40 minutes total, and then I interviewed 15 people. So if you are able to come back tonight, it will be about an hour and 15 minutes, but we will also be posting it on YouTube tomorrow or the next day, something like that, so you'll be able to view it on there as well.
You stayed on Route 2 and you came up into much smaller. And then there was one across the road next to the church. I think that's a Methodist church. You came up to the Four Corners and you took a left, and you drove in. The road was dirt coming in. You went past the first dike, what we used to call the first dike, and then you kept going past that, and then you stopped. There was a T. You turned left. We went in probably to get to our camp about a mile, and then you went a little further and you came, you know, to the homes, Granville Hicks, and then he had neighbors and stuff. But, you know, the road was only, there was one other camp that we went by, so it was very isolated, you know, where we were. But my father liked that thing. But my most favorite thing growing up was the winter festival that he made. They had snowmobiling, snowshoeing, ice sculpture contest, snow sculpture, all this super fun stuff, literally right in my backyard growing up. I was blessed to grow up in the state park.
So again, thank you guys so much for coming. Thank you for all the oral history participants. And I do need to do a shout out to my brother, because if I don't, I might take yelled at. So these beautiful wooden things that are inside of your bags, those were made by my brother. But yeah, like I said, if you're able to, please come back this evening for the rest of the video. We'll try to get a little bit better quality on the viewing. It does actually have really good quality for the video. And if not, like I said, it will be available on YouTube. And I think it's about time to eat.